Hey Pera, game changer here. So first of all, I am absolutely stoked you're in the team, mate. I feel that you're just gonna be something a little bit different from everyone else. So keep up the great work, mate. Just something about you, I think it's going to be absolutely superb. So I'll watch this space, and I know exactly that's how you're going to be. Now then, let's have a little scan what we've got in terms of troops. We know that your Macava's level 2. Work really, really hard. I mean, Christ, you can get that to level 3. You just need 337 metal. The more you get that, I mean, as soon as you get that to level 4, the armor kicks in. When you get to level 6, other things kick in. Level 8, you start to get the options to have machine gun and additional red eye in it. So, I mean, it just gets better and better and better, mate. So put that as a priority. And tell you what, find that 337 metal from somewhere, because if you start to look at your health and DPS, you tell me when that starts to overtake the Abraham. It can't be too far away. So at this moment, you're absolutely right. I like that. I like that. I want to promote unit, not produce it. Exactly the right thoughts, mate. So absolutely superb on that one. Keep up that thought process. So in your attack at the moment, I think have mentioned this, haven't we? I think we did discuss that. The rocket buggies, for me, you really need to be getting the rocket buggies out and M270 in, because that really is just a big, more powerful rocket buggy. It just takes power as well if you get hit. Now, you've got 3 tanks in your attack, which suggests that either you're bulldozing your way through, or you're not moving them about much. I don't quite know what it is. It'd be worth having a look at. But 2 tanks is pretty much all you need. Some people have those tanks split up so that they can have one tank on one slot and another tank on another slot. Marco works that way, and he'll send the tanks one way, one the other way, and split up their attack. And then meanwhile he goes down the middle. So things like that can be considered. But yeah, rocket buggies obviously really don't need to be in there. Snipers, as I mentioned, they are potentially a lot tougher at getting helicopters out of the air. They do work better than machine gunners, I tell you what. So that could be some forward. But I mean, yeah, if you can get Zeus, that would be absolutely superb. I still run my attack with a couple of Zeus. Excuse my dog. Now, Raptors are going to be your next one. So, Avengers you could maybe look at, because that will be a far better defence than the Reaper. But the Thunderbolt versus the Raptor. Now, if you level 1 Raptor, you'd be thinking, well, what's all this about? Tell you get those bad boys to level 7 and 8, and they're devastating. Now, the difference with a Thunderbolt, if I want to attack something with a Thunderbolt, I've got to click on a building and it will take out said building. But imagine the scenario where you've got a whole host of tanks hunting you down on the world map. You're backed into a corner, you turn your Abrahams or one day your Merkavas round, and you engage said tanks, and you know as well as I know it's going to be a case of who survives first, but it doesn't look pretty on your oil account. Well, supposing you did that on purpose and then clicked on those tanks and sent a couple of high-power Raptors in there, the Raptors will destroy those tanks for you. Just obviously bear in mind, to be out of range of flak, so you could draw the opposition's defense out of the zone and then Raptor attack. So it's just an unusual strategy, but one that works really, really well. Now, the next thing you're going to come across is these fobs that we've been discussing. So fobs, there was some theory that a level 10 Cobra was better than a level 2 Guardian, and I do get where that comes from, but I tell you what, as soon as you put the Guardian into the level 4 fob, if you notice, it gets a 300% health upgrade, which makes the Guardian massively more powerful as a fob than the Cobra. Absolutely no contest. So that's going to be working really, really well. Again, you need to be spending a bit of money on your helipad, because you could get another 100 in there if you notice. Now, I'd be moving more towards Heinz. And if you look that first lot, 28 seconds before you're going to put a chopper up, and then what is going to be a Cobra. it's not really going to trouble anyone. Where if it was 16 seconds and a fucking hind comes up, I tell you what, that's bound to worry people, because not everybody has Zeus, not everybody has red eye and things like that. So the big powerful helicopters do cause me bother. I mean, you know your machine gunners there. If they're there and a cobra comes along, it's like happy days. But if a hind comes along, I tell you what, you'll struggle a lot more, especially on the more powerful ones. But I tell you something, if you take a striker to a hind, you'll take it out for breakfast. It really is absolutely no trouble at all. So swap that round a little bit. At very least, you want that first chopper coming out after 16 seconds, and then maybe see if you can get a couple more hinds in there. So 16, 16, 16, or 16:32 and whatever, you know what I mean, something along that line. But you need to get that first one out a little bit earlier. And if you look at your barracks here, now let's be honest, what have you got there? Rifleman. Okay, so imagine you're on the battlefield, yeah, you know, and you're obviously about to attack, and you know, after 30 seconds, of course, if you've still got a barracks after 30 seconds, you're doing well. But after 30 seconds, an amazing amount of riflemen come at you. Are you going to be bothered? Probably not. You need to have mortarmen. You need to, going forward, have force recon, Moors. I'll tell you what, they're good in defence. I haven't got the AGS. Apparently they're absolutely superb. But certainly 30 seconds nat. If you put, say, 4 to 5 mortarmen, they'll come out after 8 seconds. And then if you do, say, another 12 mortarmen, they'll come out after, I don't know, another 10, 12 seconds, and so on and so forth. So you pyramided up so that the more come out, but the mortarmen really, for me, would be more likely to give me bother, and heavy vehicles bother, where machine gunners, nah, not really going to cut it. Force recon, as I said, though, are particularly good, and start to work on getting your force recon upgraded. Now, you could, if you're struggling on air defence, you could actually build a couple of snipers. Snipers, I think, come out after 7 seconds on the first slot, so you could use that almost as an additional flak. So that's a nice little top tip for you. What else we got? So yeah, air power we've mentioned. We've mentioned about again, defenders. If you get Avengers in the monthly event, you could put them in the airfield. They are better. I wouldn't necessarily go mad for it. You know, just maybe have it as a byproduct. You've got bigger things to look at first, I would suspect. You never got Humvee IFV. Interesting. It's not really going to cause you any bother now. You haven't needed it to this point. You know, the time to have needed that is probably gone. So don't worry about that too much. And can I again, War Factory Defenders? Okay, again, just imagine you're on that battlefield. You know, and all of a sudden, after 24 seconds, a couple of little rocket buggies come at you. They're not really going to cause you any bother, are they? You're going to be laughing up your sleeve. You really need some high power tanks coming out of there. So 1 tank, then 2 tanks, then 3 tanks. If you haven't got enough for that, then you can see there, you know, your War Factory could be upgraded, and needs to be upgraded. You obviously could spend 700 there and get that upgraded as well. So yeah, I want you to focus on a little bit on your defense. Your attack will naturally progress. Just be careful what you're upgrading building wise. I want to keep you as low level as possible, but as high power as possible. Where people go wrong, I'm not knocking it, but if you look at Michelle in Fox, it's something like a 62 base, but the attack's just not withstanding that level, and you know, if you shit it's your fan and you've got a 60 odd player attacking you, you call for your big guns, so your big guns need to be big guns. So just let's make sure we get this core strength really tough, really hard. Now going forward, avoid Shredder, avoid GMLRS. The next one for you will, let's say, Macarva, certainly. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people are having a lot of success with this Mantis. The Mantis is basically a bit like a force field. You put the Mantis in front of, say, other, you know, vehicles, and you know, when you get salvoed, you know, repeatedly, and it obviously knocks you out. The Mantis actually shoots down the salvo rounds. It also shoots down the rockets from things like the Hind that we were discussing earlier. So it can give yourself a bit of a shield. So that could be really good. The M270 there, hopefully we've discussed that having oh, it looks like you've already upgraded your Macabre. Happy days. The M270 looks like you should be having Red Eye. If you haven't got that already, you know, try and get that, because that obviously helps with anti-air as well. We may have already picked that up. But no, really, really good, mate. Keep up what you're doing. My next video will be on your base.